Hello and welcome to Ask Ardyce, the podcast where we ask my grandma questions about life, the universe, and everything, and she gives us her honest answers. Here with me today is, of course, the woman herself, Ardyce Krogstad. Do you want to say hello to everybody, Grandma?
Hi, everybody. What a beautiful sunny day we had in Calgary today. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh, wasn't it gorgeous? I think we hit 18 degrees or something ridiculous like that. That was just wonderful. So, we will move right into the questions. Now, before we move into this week's questions, though, we want to revisit a question from last week that Grandma felt she could have answered a little more fully. So we're going to revisit a question from Josh Forbes. For those of you who didn't tune in last week, I'll just sum up the question again. So he asked her, as a young woman, what were some of your first loves? Not romantically speaking, but intellectually, artistically, musically, and so on. And Grandma had kind of talked about her love of the outdoors, her love of sports, but she wanted to talk a little bit more about some of her other loves from her childhood. So why don't you go into that, Grandma?
Yeah, Josh, I'd just like to tell you my love of music was definitely with Elvis Presley. I mean, I had posters of him all over my bedroom wall and all that kind of stuff. It was all the era of he was really, and I also liked the Beatles, but he was really my hero as far as music was concerned. One I loved to dance to and sing to and all that kind of stuff. But now I can't remember what the third part. Oh, artistically, well, Josh, you know what? That is, I'm not too artistic, but I like to watch from afar.
Well, I will say that through the years, you become more artistic. I'd say at least in terms of writing. You've done more poetry and been more adventurous with, getting in front of the camera, and you're very comfortable speaking. So maybe more as a performer, perhaps, and a writer. Hey?
Well, yeah, I don't mind doing that kind of stuff. I never thought about that. I certainly did a little bit of acting and stuff during school, and I guess that's artistic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, Grandma. What kind of plays did you do?
I did a really fun one. I guess the one I remember the most is us three girls were all in an apartment. I don't remember. I had to come out with a towel wrapped around my head in my house coat and answer the phone. That was how it first started. But anyway, let's carry on.
All right. No, I'm loving this. I love these little glimpses into moments that I haven't seen you in. So that's so cool. I didn't realize you had done some acting. That makes total sense to me because you're such a good speaker. So we'll move into our next question. The next question is from, again, a caller that you will find familiar to you, but who hasn't asked a question yet. This is from Aidan Sherlock-Steeves.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, so he's...
my grandson.
That's right. So he says, as someone who knows you personally, I know that you have had many hardships in your life. But when I think of you, I think of a strong and positive person that inspires me to stay strong. When the going gets tough, what do you do to help stay the strong, positive, loving person you are?
Oh, well, Aidan, that's very sweet what you said.
Yeah.
When I look back, Aidan, it wasn't always easy, and I didn't always do the right things. But I certainly tried for my boys, I believe, more than anything, to try and help them to not see negative things. I tried hard to be as positive as I possibly could. And as I got older and as they got older, I learned lots more and just found it easier. But that's a really, really wise question, Aidan. And you have a really good head on your shoulder and a loving heart. You will learn to do it a lot younger than I did, I think.
Yeah, he's got some good questions, Grandma. You're right. He's got a good head on his shoulders, that one.
Yeah.
And absolutely knows his stuff to point out what a strong, loving person you are. So I think that was a great question. So next question is from Mr. Ethan Henschel, a returning caller. And he says, and I'm excited to hear this one, because if you don't have an answer, I have all kinds of answers for you, and I'll tell you why in a second. What are some funny catchphrases, idiosyncrasies, or behaviors that you are known for? And so I'm hoping you have a few off the top of your head, but I have written some down if you haven't, because Grandma is one of the most quotable people I know. So what are some of your catchphrases?
Yakasaki is one of them, and her flippity flop and full to the top. If I eat any more, my belly will pop.
Now, for those listeners who don't know what Yakasaki means, can you explain that one?
It's honest and truly we were watching a program on TV several years ago, and this gentleman, they were buying a guitar, and for some reason he kept saying, Iniakasaki, Iniakasaki, and it just caught on, and we just laughed for years about it. I mean, there's so many of them. Oh my goodness, Miranda. I tried to think now.
I've got the list up here. So basically, like anything that you picture people saying on a ranch, we've got lower than a snake's belly. That's one you've said before. I'm going to trade you in for a yellow dog and then shoot the dog was one of those.
Terrible.
I know, but you've said it before.
And sorry, I didn't mean to snort.
No, it's all good. And then if you don't pull that lip in, a crow's going to sit on it and shit in your mouth.
I know, and poop on your lip.
Oh, is that what it
You're
is?
getting carried away, you guys.
Okay, I got that a little bit wrong, but mostly it's a pretty dramatic saying too.
Yeah.
And then I'd give my eye teeth for that was one that I've heard you say before.
Yep, lots of times, yep.
That's such a weird one. I don't think eyes have
I know.
teeth, so.
Why does it make sense? So many of them don't make sense, you know.
Yeah. And one of my favorite is a hoot and a holler, a dime and a dollar, I'm a lucky son of a gun.
That's actually a song.
Is it?
Yeah.
I have heard you speak that saying before, and that makes me...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love it. I like that one.
I'm going to have to look up that song now. Well, there you go, Josh Forbes. You're asking about music. There's a track to search up. And there's a few more, but I think we've given him the gist of it. That's
yeah. He can come back for more another day.
Absolutely, because Grandma is full of them. But I was really happy to see that question because I knew there'd be some gems in there. So, next question is from Trudy Steeves, and she's called in before. This is her second time calling.
Yes.
So first she says, I'm glad to know that you are well and keeping busy. I'm enjoying your podcast. Keep up the good work. And then she says, my question is, who do you think will bounce back quicker from this isolation? Younger people or older people? And why?
Okay.
Good one, hey?
Yeah, this is a really good one. Trudy, I'm going to say younger people because so often elderly people do spend a lot of time alone. So isolating us isn't quite the same as telling a young person, you can't go next door and play with a friend. You can't go to work today,
Right.
Just in the middle age group and stuff like that. I really think it's going to be the younger people that they're going to sit back and say, wow, there's a lot more to life than the rat race. There's a lot more to life than just going full out. I think they will benefit the most from it. And I sure am glad to hear you're doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point, Grandma, that you've mentioned in a previous episode, too, that with age, more people become comfortable spending time with themselves. And certainly you've become good at spending time with yourself. For people,
not always, but as I've gotten older, for sure.
There you go. So yeah, I think that you're right that younger people will have a harder time perhaps adapting to the isolation. And so when that's let up, people are going to be running out into the streets and hugging everybody again, I think, just to get that contact again. So, on to our last question of the episode. This one is from my Aunt Tracy. She asks, other than our health, what are the most important things we should focus on at this time, especially with our children? So, I mean, she's getting lots of good time with Henrik and Ayla, so I think she's wondering what the most important things that they should all focus on together.
Tracy, I think about your home and I think about your yard, and it's getting to be weather when you guys can all go outside together and they run some of their energy off. And I know you've enjoyed being home with them so much more, and I think that's so wonderful that you've taken this as such a positive thing and ran with it. Tracy, other than health-wise, I mean, I think you guys are all doing well, and I'm thrilled about that. But I think now that the weather's getting lovely, we're going to be able to take those kids outside and let them run in the yards. I know you have a yard, and maybe yell 10 feet away from the kid down the block. I'm not sure, but maybe we'd set that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think right now, I think we need to start really trying to figure out mentally how to make it easier for the kids. But I see the stuff your kids are doing, and I think, boy, I'm impressed with all of the stuff that they're learning and enjoying that you're enjoying with them. So I wish everybody did the same things.
Absolutely. And when you're talking about being outside, enjoying time outside, I saw a video posted on Facebook yesterday of Ayla doing the hockey celebration dance challenge. So apparently what kids are doing is they're scoring a goal and then they're doing a celebration dance. So I can tell they're keeping active and having lots of fun with it. She was riding the hockey stick as a broom at one point. It was a beautiful thing. Good advice to get some time together outside, connect with neighbors in whatever way you can via distance, but really just enjoy the time that you're getting with your kiddos. That's great.
Yeah, and for Quentin's birthday, they did a pizza party outside where they all got Rob and Tracy's, and the kids painted him the most beautiful, bright pictures. They're just gorgeous. Jan sent me a picture of your dad with his pictures.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. And
wasn't that lovely of them?
Yeah, and that's beautiful how people are getting creative, where they're not sharing any supplies or, they're not touching or, being within the 2 meters distance, but they're finding ways to share space and connect. So that's really great for sure that they're able to do that. That's so lovely that the kids did that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were so many people asking great questions this episode. So, the list of grandma-isms themselves took up a solid half the episode. We could have filled up way more. But I think we'll end this episode there. Grandma, is there anything you'd like to say to sign off?
I just want everybody to stay healthy and safe, and let's just pray that this is all over very soon.
So that was Ask Ardyce. I hope you got as much out of that as I always do. If you have any other questions, feel free to post them on Facebook, and I'll nag Grandma with some more questions soon.